Hello, you welcome back to this YouTube channel, and if you've been here before, you welcome back again. Thank you so much for sticking to this channel, and if this is your first time here, you're highly welcome. Please do well to hit the subscribe button and also click on the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I drop a new video. In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a panel or panels which you can attach to the waist of a dress. Can be used as a skirt, and also you can attach it from the nail of a dress. So if this is something you would want to watch or something you're interested in, do well and keep watching. And also I'll be making use of a toddler dress. I'll be using a toddler dress to make an example, so keep watching and do not touch the dial. For making panels, you will be needing your fabrics, your lining, either gum stay or stiffener, whichever you have available. So this is a picture, or rather a video of a gum stay. This is how the strongest gum stay looks like. You can see how strong it is. So this is how it is. So you can either make use of this or a stiffener. So this is needed to make the panel firm, to have a firm panel. So if you're making this for a child, so this measurements range from 3 months to 2 years old, this particular one, and this is for 3 years old measurement. And we have 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, and 8 years old. If you have the child with you, you can go ahead and take your measurements. And also, if the child is on the chubby side, make sure you take your measurement. So for the purpose of those who would want to make this for a child, I would love to start with drafting the upper scale basic bodice for a child. So if you're not interested in this part, more of like you're concerned about just drafting of the panels, you can go ahead and fast forward to where we started the panels and join us from there. But now we're going to start with drafting of the toddler's or a child's basic bodice. So I would go ahead and fold this over. You can actually use just a part of this without folding over to avoid wastage, but because of I want you to see how a full basic bodice of a child look like, I would go ahead and just fold this over like this. So I'll just go ahead and fold this over nicely. So you can make use of a pattern paper, a cardboard paper, a newspaper, whichever you have currently with you can be used to draft out the pattern. You can also go ahead and draft directly on the fabric if you are an expert. So the shoulder of this toddler is 4.3 inches, which I've gone ahead to mark out. Then I'll come down by half an inch from the shoulder point like this to attain that shoulder slant or shoulder slope. So for the neck width, most toddlers, their neck width ranges from 1.75 to 2 inches. So I'll make use of 2 inches. But if you want the neck width to be closer to the neck, just go ahead and make use of 1.75. Then for the neck depth, I'll be making use of 2 inches as well. So I'll go ahead and connect this neck width to this neck depth to get a nice curve like this. After doing this, I'll go ahead and bring in my rule to connect this half an inch I came down with on the shoulder to the neck width like this. Next is to mark out the armhole depth. So the armhole depth for this toddler is 4.25, and I'll go ahead and mark that out like this. And I'll go ahead and bring in my rule to connect this back to the shoulder. So I'll just go ahead and bring in my rule to connect a straight line like this. So next is to divide the chest circumference measurement by 4. So the chest circumference of 2 years old is 20 inches. Divided by 4 gives me 5 inches. And I'll go ahead and mark it out here like this. And I'll bring in my rule to connect this back to the armhole depth. So now that this is done, the next step is to mark out the armhole curve. So to get the armhole curve, just go ahead and find the midpoint of the armhole depth by folding your tape over like this. So the midpoint of 4.25, after folding my tape, I marked it out. So from that point, I marked out the midpoint. I'll go in by half an inch like this. And I'm going to connect these 3 points to get the armhole curve like this. So now that this is done, the next step is to go ahead and mark out the waistline of the child. So for 2 years to 3 years, the waistline ranges from 8 inches, 8.5 inches to 9 inches. But specifically for 2 years old, you make use of 8 inches or 8.5 inches. But for me, I just feel like making use of 9 inches for the waistline. So I'll go ahead and mark out the 9 inches. If you have the child with you or the toddler with you, you can just go ahead and measure from the shoulder to the waistline to get your measurement. Now, for 1 year old, the measurement for the shoulder to the waistline is ranges from 6.5 inches and 7 inches. So now that I have my waistline, I'll go ahead and add half an inch to this waistline like this to get my aiming allowance or joining allowance, because I'm going to attaching the panels to this and I need the sewing allowance. So that's the reason for adding this half an inch, and I'll just go ahead and connect like this to get a straight line. So now that this is done, I'll go ahead and mark the round bodice measurement. So remember, I've already marked that of the chest, but I didn't get to add my sewing allowance. So I'll just go ahead and add my 2 inches sewing allowance here. So I'm making use of 2 inches for the sewing allowance. So I'll mark that out. So after doing this, on the waistline, I'll also go ahead and divide the waist circumference measurement by 4. So the waist circumference measurement of 2 years old is 21 inches. So 21 divided by 4 gives me 5.25. So I'll go ahead and mark that out on the waistline and also on the aiming line. And I'll go ahead and add the 2 inches for the sewing allowance. So when sewing for toddlers, I personally do advise that you make use of 2 inches sewing allowance, because that is enough to cover up for the that intake, the sewing allowance, and even if you want to make any form of amendment, 2 inches is okay. So I have gone ahead to extend the lines to meet up with the points, and I'll just go ahead and connect like this. So now that this is done, the basic bodice of the 2 years old is ready. So I'll go ahead and cut this out. And please watch closely how this was cut out. So this is it, it's ready. So I'll just go ahead and open this up so you see it. So this is the front basic bodice of a 2 years old. Yeah, it's looking beautiful, right? So the next thing we would want to do is to go ahead and mark out the back pattern. For the back pattern, go ahead and fold your fabric into 2 or get a piece of paper. So I folded my pattern paper into 2, and since this outfit is going to have the zip at the back, I'll go ahead and make room for the zip at the back by marking out the zipper allowance. So I'll go ahead and mark 1.5 inches like this from the center back, from this point like this. And after marking this out, I'll bring my rule to connect these dots to get a straight line. So this is just to make room for the zip that will be at the back of this dress. So this is for the zipper allowance. So to make things easier, you can just go ahead and place your front pattern paper from this line and just trace out the shoulder, trace out the sides and underneath. But because I want this to be more understandable, I am going to draft out the back pattern from scratch. So I'll go ahead and mark out the shoulder measurement, and all measurements will be starting from this line, the straight line. So the shoulder measurement, which is 4.375, I've marked out, and I'll come down with half an inch. Same thing I did at the front pattern. And for the neck width, I'll mark out 2 inches. So make sure the neck width of your front is the same thing as that of the back. And for the neck depth, I'll be making use of 1 inch. Yes, a regular neck depth of a back pattern is not that deep. So I'm making use of 1 inch, and I'm just going to connect the neck width to this neck depth like this. So I'll also go ahead and bring in my rule to connect this half an inch at the shoulder to this neck width like so. So now that this is done, I'll go ahead and mark out the armhole depth. So the armhole depth which we made use of is 4.25 for this 2 years old, and I'll go ahead and connect to get a straight line like this. Then I'll also go ahead and mark out the chest circumference measurements after dividing by 4, which is 5 inches. I'll mark it out here, and I'll connect this to the armhole depth. Now to get the armhole curve of the back pattern, go ahead and find the midpoint of your armhole depth, mark it out. So you fold over your tape like this and mark out the midpoint like this. And then you're just going to connect this to this chest circumference measurement like this to get the back armhole curve. So now that this is done, you go ahead and mark out your waistline. So go ahead and mark out your shoulder to your waistline, waist measurement. So I made use of 9 inches for the front pattern, so I'll go ahead and make use of that same 9 inches for the back pattern, and I'll connect like this. And then I will also add half an inch for hemming allowance or joining allowance like this. So you can see it's almost the same thing as the front. The only difference is the neck depth, the armhole curve, and the zipper allowance. So after doing this, I'll go ahead and mark the round bodice measurement and add my 2 inches for sewing allowance. So I'll go ahead and add my 2 inches here. And for this waistline, the waistline circumference divided by 4, 5.25, I'll mark it out here, add the 2 inches for sewing allowance. Also mark out the 5.25 here on the hemming line, and also go ahead and mark 2 inches for sewing allowance like this. Then I'll bring my rule to extend these lines to meet those new points like this. And I will go ahead and also connect these 3 lines. Okay, let me just indicate here my waistline, my hemming line, so we don't get confused. So I'll just go ahead and draw my connections like this. So now that this is done, the back pattern is ready to be cut out. So I'll just extend this further like this. So this is ready to be cut out, and I will go ahead and cut this out. So please watch closely how this has been cut out. And don't forget to extend the neckline like this. So just go ahead and cut this out and open this up. So don't forget to notch this line of the zipper allowance so you know where your zipper allowance starts from. So this is the back pattern. I'm just going to fold this over like this. This is the back pattern. So I'll go over and bring in the front pattern, and you can see we have this beautiful piece. So this is the basic bodice of a 2 years old or of a 2 years old child or toddler. And with the measurement displayed earlier, you can go ahead and draft out the basic bodies of any child with their age respectively. So this is it. And with this, you can go ahead and cut this out on your fabric, sew, and you have a good outfit. So with this, you can also decide the kind of neckline you want, whatever you want. The kind of neckline you want for this upper basic body is up to you. You can leave it like this, but for me, I just want a V neckline, a deep V neckline, because I want to accessorize it. I want to put some accessories to this dress. So I'm just going to go ahead and create the V neckline that I want. So I want it to be 6 inches deep. And after marking out the deepness, that is the neck depth that I want, I'll go ahead and connect it to the neck width. So this is the neckline I want for this dress. I am screaming this out because this is what I want. So go ahead and do what you want, or you can leave it with a regular neckline if that is what you want. So for me, I am just playing around here to see if I can get a more desired neckline. So now that I have what I want, I just go ahead and cut it out. So I'll go ahead and you just open this up so you get to see this. So I'm just going to open. So this is it, and I think this neckline is looking beautiful. So this is what I settle for. So now that this is done, for the back neckline, I am thinking of making it go deeper than it is. I don't want this regular back neckline. So I'm just going to alter it a little bit, and I settled for it to be 3 inches deep. That is the back neck depth. So I'll go ahead and connect this to the neck width like this, and I'll go ahead and cut this out. And don't forget to notch this zipper line so you'll be able to tell where your zip is seated. And I'll just arrange this, and these are the desired neckline that I want for this dress. So I'll go ahead and use these pattern papers to cut out the fabrics and the lining. So these are the fabrics and the lining. I have cut them out. I'll be using ashoke for the front, and I'll be using this Ankara for the back bodice for the back. And as you can see, I left 2 inches round on the front pattern, and this is because of the type of fabric I'm making use of at the front, which is an ashoke, and ashokes are known for their shredding. So to avoid the shredding to affect the main measurement, I had to leave, a few inches rounded. So please do not do this if you are not making use of a fabric that shred. Do not do this. As you can see, my back pattern, I didn't get to leave inches around it. I just got exactly what I have on the pattern paper. So go ahead and cut out exactly what you have on the pattern paper without leaving inches around it, as far as you are not making use of a fabric that shred. So welcome back on board for those that are only interested on how to draft out the panels. So for the panels, get a piece of pattern paper, fold it into two like this to get the middle line or the midpoint. So I have the midline here, as you can see, and then make sure the pattern paper is long enough to contain the length you want for the panels, and then go ahead and mark 1 inch from this point, from the beginning, from the top, to get your starting line. So this is also quite important. Now that this is done, I'll go ahead and bring in my rule to connect the dots to get a straight line. Now to the next most important aspect of creating a panel, which is to get the top of this panel. To get the top of the panel, all you have to do is to go ahead and divide the waist circumference measurement or the knee circumference measurement by the number of panels you want. Meaning, if you want the panels to start from your waist to be attached to the waist of your dress, go ahead and divide your waist circumference measurement by the number of panels. If you want it to start from the nail, if you want to attach the panels from the nail of the dress, go ahead and divide the knee circumference measurement by the number of panels. And the number of panels actually depend on you. It's up to you to decide. So for me, the number of panels I want is 6 inches, and the measurement of the waist I'm using here is 21 inches. So 21 inches divided by 6 inches gives me 3.5 inches. So I'll go ahead and find the midpoint of 3.5 by folding my tape over to meet this 3.5 inches and get the midpoint, or I can just go ahead and divide 3.5 by 2 to get the midpoint. So now that I have the midpoint on this tape, which is here, I will go over to my pattern paper and make sure the midpoint is on this line and mark on both sides of the line like this. So it's the same thing as dividing 3.5 inches by 2, which will give me 1.75. So meaning I marked out 1.75 on the right side of the line and 1.7 side on the left side of the line, giving me 3.5 inches for the top of the panel. So that's my, what I got. So I'll just go ahead and turn this paper over like this. So next is to mark out the length I want for this panel. So I want this panel to be 13 inches long, which I have marked out here. Then for this panel, I want to curve this panel with 4 inches. I'll go ahead and mark it out. So you can curve it with 3 inches, 5 inches. It depends on how curvy you want the panel to be, how much curve you want the panels to have. So for me, I'm okay with 4 inches. Next, I will extend this 4 inches line like this. I'll just go ahead and extend it like this, as you can see. Then after extending it, I'll go ahead and determine how full I want this panel to be. Now, since this is a short panel and I want it to be more curvier, I'm going to make use of 8 inches on both sides. You can equally make use of 7 inches, 9 inches, 6 inches. It depends on how full, how curvier you want it to be. For a long panel, if you want a very fuller effect, make use of 15 inches, 16, 17, 18 inches on both sides. I hope you don't understand. So the number of inch on on the right side should be the number of inches you'll be using on the left side. So now that that is done, I will connect from this point to meet up with this, and from this point to meet up with the top. And then remember, I will have to curve this down to meet up with the total length like this. So you just go ahead and curve it. You can use your curve rule or you can use your ends. And here you can see that you need to place your curve rule the same way you place it on the other side. because you won't have the same curve. So you can see I had to place it the same way I did on the other side to get exact same curve. So this is it. The panel is ready. If any of this is quite confusing to you, just let me know on the comment section and I will explain to you. Now I'll go ahead and add half an inch for sewing allowance all round. So I'll just go ahead and add half an inch all round like this. And also the number of panels do range from 6 to 12 panels. Most panels being made for adults, are about 12 panels, 11 panels, 10 panels. It all depends on you. It's up to you. But since there's a child that this outfit, this panel is being made for, I'm just going to settle for 6 panels. So it's up to you to decide the number of panels that you want. So this is it. I am adding half an inch all round. And once this is done, I'll go ahead and cut this out. So add half an inch at the top too. And then I'll go ahead and cut out like this. So like I earlier stated, the half an inch that was added all round is for sewing allowance. So this is it. The panel is ready, and I will go ahead and use this to cut out the 6 panels that I want. That is 6 of this. So I'll go ahead and cut this out. Now you can either get to just go ahead and cut all your panels with this exact shape without adding any zipper allowance for the center back, or you can do this, which is quite very optional. You can just get to leave half an inch on one side of the 2 pieces that will be at the center back. So you can see these other 4 pieces are the same, but the 2 pieces that will be at the center back, I went ahead to add half an inch on this side for zipper allowance. And also make sure you go ahead and cut out the linings for all the panels. Go ahead and cut out the linings. You can either use the fabric as the lining as well, or you can get a lining fabric for it. So for me, I am making use of the fabric as both the fabric and as the lining. You get. So that's just what I want. So now that this is done, the next step is to go ahead and also cut out the hardest gum stay or the strongest gum stay, exactly the same shapes as well. And then you go ahead and iron the fusible parts to the main fabric. So after doing that, for those who are making this outfit for a toddler, we'll go over to the top basic bodice. Now in sewing the top basic bodice, all you have to do is remove your pattern paper, open up the front basic bodice, and then go over and stitch your darts on the wrong side of the fabric. So you just pinch it like this and stitch. So it should be like 2 inches from the mid line. With the same thing being done on the lining, you go ahead and place the lining on the main fabric, making sure the right sides are facing each other, and you close up the neckline. Now for the back pattern, we'll also go ahead and open it up as well, and just go ahead and from the zipper line, mark 2 inches from that zipper line, and also pinch for your zipper allowance. So the pinching should not be more than, let me say, half an inch or 0.25 inch on both sides. So this is it. As you can see, I have done that. You can see the shredding. So this is why I just left few inches while cutting this out. So you can see it's already shredding greatly. So for the dart, you can see it started from 6 inches from the shoulder, as you can see, and 2 inches from this midline. So that was what I stated earlier. So, and I did the same thing on the other side as well. 6 inches from the shoulder, that's where the dart started from. And then I went ahead to pinch, and then you fold over like this and stitch. She should not be more than 0.25 inches. Most times people don't even get to put darts on when it comes to children's outfit. So it's up to you. For me, I just love the sight of that. And I did the same thing on the back pattern as well. And also I went over to close up the neckline for the front pattern and also for the back pattern. So I closed up the neckline, and for the dart for the back, you can see it started at 5 inches from the shoulder and also 2 inches from this zipper line, as you can see. So that's just it. It's very easy, and I did the same thing on the linings as well, and you can see how it's looking. It's beautiful. So now that this is done, I'll go ahead and place the shoulders on each other, making sure the right sides of the fabrics are facing each other and the right side of the lining are facing each other like this. You can see the way I'm placing them like this. And then I'll go ahead and, close up the shoulder. So you go ahead and do that. And you also do the same thing on the other shoulder as well. So this should be done on both shoulders. So you close up the shoulder and make sure they are placed properly before stitching up the shoulders. So you can see what we have here. So I'll go ahead and arrange this back since the shoulders has been stitched. And since this is a sleeveless dress, meaning it's not going to have any sleeve, I'll go ahead and close up the armholes. But if you are adding sleeve to the dress, do not bother closing up the armholes. So I'll go over to my sewing machine and do that. So this is it. I have closed up the armholes. You can see how neatly it look. And also don't forget to close up the zipper section, although I have not done that, but I will do that during the course of the next phase. So go ahead and turn your fabric like this to the right side through the shoulders, just the way you see me doing. And you bring it out, and then you go ahead and iron. So this is what I am doing. So now that this has been brought out, I'll go ahead and iron. So after ironing, the next step is to go ahead and close up the side seams. So for the side seam, place your lining on each other like this, your fabric on each other like this, as you can see, and then you close up the side seam with the sewing allowance. So since I made use of 2 inches for the sewing allowance, I'll go ahead and stitch with 2 inches. So once I'm done, you can see the way I placed them, you can see the way I did it. So I'll close it up. So once I'm done, I'll come back and show you guys. So this is it. 2 inches that I used for sewing allowance. That's what I used for stitching up the side seam. And then I will return this back like this. I'll put this back like this, so you can see what I have here. So I'll go ahead and iron. I'll go ahead and iron this out. So don't forget to close up the zipper side. Although I've not done that, I'll also get to do that. So I'll stitch up this part because of the shredding. I don't want it to go deeper like this. So this is it, guys. And make sure you iron after every step of stitching. Make sure you iron. So this is what the wrong side of the top look like, and this is what the right side look like. So now that this is done, we'll go over to the panel. So I have already ironed this to the main fabric, and this is what I'll use as the lining. So what I'll do is I'll place the right sides on each other, that is the right side of the fabric facing each other, and I'll go over to my sewing machine and close up the down using that 1/2 inch. So this is me closing up the down. You can see I'm making use of the 1/2 inch to close it up. So now that this is done, I will go ahead and notch it. So this notching is going to make the fabric more relaxed, the stitches more relaxed. So when notching, make sure it doesn't get to the stitching that you did, so you don't cut it open. Then you turn it over like this, as you can see, and you go ahead and iron it nicely. You go ahead and iron it nicely. So this is what I have. Then after ironing, you go ahead and stitch on both sides like this, and stitch close up the top as well. So once I've done that, I'll come back and show you guys. You do that for all panels. So guys, I've stitched the side, as you can see. I've stitched the sides, and I've also closed the top, and I've ironed this out. So this is what I have. 1 2 3 4 5 6. You can see my 6 panels are ready. So I'll go ahead and separate the 4 panels from the 2 panels that will be at the center back. So if you did not bother adding zipper allowance, then there is no problem as well. No need to separate. Just go ahead and start the next process, which is the joining of the panels at the side. So you go ahead and put panels on each other and close them up at the side, and you go ahead and place another panel on the next one and also go ahead and close it up at the side. So that's what you repeat, keep doing it till you're done with joining all the panels together. So once I'm done with that, I'll show you. So this is it. As you can see, this is the right side. So since I added zipper allowance, you can see my center back is at the center. So if you didn't bother about adding zipper allowance, no problem, you still achieve the same result. So this is it, guys. Next is to attach this to the upper bodice. So I'll bring in the upper bodice and I'll go ahead and find the midpoint of this panel like this by folding it like this to find the middle, and then I'll bring in my scissors to notch it a little to indicate that this is the center of this panel, and I'll bring in the upper bodice and also find the midpoint or the center by folding it over like this. You can see I have ironed in the zipper allowance, as you can see. So fold it over like this to get the middle, and you notch it as well to indicate that okay, this is the middle of the upper. So I'll go ahead and place the upper basic bodice on the panel, making sure the right sides are aligned or in each other, they're facing each other, and then I'll go ahead and attach it like this at the waist region like this. So if you are attaching the panels to the nail, go ahead and attach it at the nail region of the dress, whichever you are doing. After doing this, I'll go ahead and add my zip at the back and also close up the center back of the panel, and then we have this. So you can see how beautiful it is looking. This is super beautiful. And I also went ahead to add the accessories that I intend on adding to this dress, and it came out looking so beautiful. And this is it on the pretty model, and you can see the panels are given what it's supposed to give. So if you enjoyed this video and if this video was helpful to you and you're yet to hit the subscribe button, guy, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button, and also don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. So see you on my next video. Love ya. Bye.